What is great, good, and real? Blessings on this beautiful Tuesday morning. I should say Tuesday afternoon on the East Coast, depending on where you're at. I hope you're having a phenomenally blessed day. I wanted to tap in today because I thought it was important to go over a video I just posted around 3 ways of improving your life effective, like right now, like immediately. If you implement these 3 things, you'll start making some serious progress in your life. And the significance of these 3 components for me was not just that they were clickbait style, if you would anyway, possibilities. There were more foundational components and really, really deep and required foundational components in order for you to ultimately achieve whatever it is you're looking to achieve, which I would hope, and which is the journey I'm on, the best version of myself, right? As cliche and standard as it sounds today in today's culture and environment. But I wanted to start with acceptance because acceptance, I believe, is likely the hardest thing you'll do. And it's because acceptance requires you to come to the realization that you are where you are, it is what it is, and nothing in the immediacy, at least in the immediacy of the moment, is going to change anything that has happened to you. And because of how we're built, because of how we're designed, because of how consciousness works, because of the fact that we have an identity, and our current identity, particularly if you know for sure, like, yo, I want to change. I know I want to change. Something likely has struck you where you said, I need to do this. There's a reality check you've probably given yourself. There's a realization that come to Jesus, if you would, where you just said, enough is enough, most likely. And or something tragic has probably happened, or you were inspired by a book, a movie, or someone you saw, I don't know, when you were like 11, years old. And you're like, oh, I can do what he or she did because they did it. Either way, acceptance of current identity is the realization that also nothing that has happened is going to change. So I'm at this point, I need to move forward. I want to grow my life. I want to be better. I want to practice acceptance. Okay, cool. Wherever you're at, you got yourself there. You may not like that answer. No, it's not me, Jeff. You have no idea what happened to me. I don't. And I won't unless you share it. But I know what has happened to me. And I know that I, like you, am human. And I suffer the same difficulties in life that you are offered. Albeit some, of course, do have it hard. I won't deny that fact. But the acceptance of your identity comes with the possibility that a lot of who you are has almost nothing to do with you per se. So it's ironic, right? How can I say through one breath, it's all because of you, but then also it has nothing to do with you? In this regard, I said in the video, acceptance is allowing yourself to now reach your new starting point. I've gotten here, I'm already here, and now that I'm here, I know I want to go forward. I need somewhere to start from. If I don't have somewhere to start from, then I can't create a route to get to my end destination, whatever it is that you see in your head as far as what you want to accomplish. But the likelihood and the reality, depending on how deep you are in your life and depending on how long it took for you to have this epiphany and come to this moment, there's a strong, strong likelihood that you are heavily influenced by your culture, your upbringing, and other things that have no bearing on your choices. So I am where I am today because I've gotten here based on my identity, which is inclusive of my thoughts, opinions, and beliefs, which are all predicated off what? Like, how much influence have you had over your current thoughts, beliefs, opinions, and values? Today, as you reflect, if you accept where you are they truly your thoughts, opinions, beliefs, and values? Are they? And if they are, why? Is it just because that's the conclusion you've come to based on what? Your research about life, your research about your life, your thoughts and experiences on spirituality, or just the fact that you've gotten to where you've gotten because you're there? And if you've gotten to where you've gotten because you're there and you never stop to reflect and you say, yo, I'm me, why? Because of my identity, because of my beliefs, my culture. Are they your beliefs still? Is it the culture you still want? Are these the experience you want to continue to persist for the rest of your life? That's a question you got to ask if you're looking to attain. I want to go to the next level. I want to be the greatest version of me. Okay, well, I can accept that everything that has happened to me to this point is not technically really me. How do you even define yourself? I work for this company and I have this much money in my account and I make this. That's not who you are. That's a byproduct of working in this culture. But ultimately, how much have you accepted of what you are and what you aren't, and how much it is based off what you want and not what someone else wants for you? And ultimately, in a long-winded way, I come to the concept that you are possibly a cup that is already full. And if you're a cup that's already full, like, how did you fill your cup? When you define yourself and you say, I've come to this realization because I want X, how'd you get there? Who are you? How are you you? Well, my cup is full because I went through these 92 experiences and I've had all these traumas and difficulties. Okay, those have still happened. Are you going to keep them in your cup? Or at some point, do you want to empty that cup and fill it with some new experiences, fill it with some new beliefs, fill it with some new ideas, thought patterns, and disciplines? We think we do. We yearn for it. It's certainly something that's become, very popular and trendy as far as, hey, I can do whatever I want, however I want, because I'm more mindful and I want to change my mindset. But ultimately, we can't even come to accept the fact that we have a full cup and it's likely full of things we don't really want. And that strikes me, that your cup could be full of people who are sucking your time. It could be full, and I know we all need jobs and money to survive, but if it's not where you want to be, at what point do you reflect and say, it's not what I want to be, it's not what I want to do, and you make a plan to do something different? That's going to come later in this conversation as far as one of the three pillars. But acceptance that you are where you are right now, even if you want to change into something that you see that's visual, it's not going to happen in the moment. But you can make a choice to say, my cup is full, I'm going to empty it. I'm not what's happened to me. I am what I choose to do moving forward, and create a starting point. And that's the biggest thing about acceptance. I am now here. I'm starting here. However, I've gotten to this place, but I'm now here. I start here, and now I need to proceed forward. And the first thing you probably want to do is empty your cup. Because again, it's probably filled with a lot of things that you don't want it to be filled with, at least if you want to get better in your life. That's the first thing, acceptance. The second thing I touched on is faith. And on my journey, I've made it a significant point of mine to do a lot of research around faith, to understand why I have faith and be able to define faith in a way that makes sense for me. And ultimately, what I said in my video and the conclusion I've come to is, if you take some time to really experience who you believe you are, or if you take some time to experience what you are really internally, like you get, at least have some spirituality about yourself. Like, you want to have faith in yourself first. I need to have faith in myself. So if I have faith in myself, that by default likely connects you to a higher power. How could it not? Because if you sit alone with yourself, or you sit alone with yourself long enough, you'll start to realize that things are happening that are deeper than you. How could it not? How could you be so selfish to think that this world is a creation of things and somehow there's not an ultimate creator? Like, can we not have that baseline level of faith? And if you have that baseline level of faith that there is a creator, then if you've read anything or seen anything or taken a little bit of time, then the basic concept of you are made in the image of creator should suffice for you to want to expand out your faith. And I think in today's culture, with the way that we're externally driven, faith might be the hardest thing to align with. I think that as you read some of the books and as you read some of the, I don't want to say legacy, man, but the old script of how things possibly went, and you try to think, like, is this book real? Is this a history lesson? I don't think so. But I think for anyone to achieve maximum level of success, I think ultimately what they experience is a higher level of consciousness. And that comes through faith. Faith that you are a creator because you were made in creator's image, thereby giving you the power of creation. And even if you want to read a book and you want to align with the potentiality of God, like it says in the book, at some point, God's soul hurt, his heart hurt. So think about that. Could you have faith enough to believe that whoever created you had a soul and had a heart and had feelings and thought? And if they did, well, then just by default, that level of consciousness, that level of awareness is in you. And so if you could align with that baseline of, well, I'm in creator's image, I have consciousness, I have feelings and emotion, I can identify what I believe is right or wrong, well, then I can have the faith that I can create something different for my life. And that's the main premise for me of faith. Forget about if it's God or Jesus Christ or Allah or Buddha or whatever it is you want to align yourself with as far as defining it by literal terms or words or books or things to inspire and provide deeper faith, at least in context with words. Faith has to come within. You have to believe first. And for you to believe in something higher, then you have to believe you were, at least in my thought, in my belief, in my opinion, that you were created by something higher, thereby believing in yourself to then elevate yourself above what is possible and potential. And the last thing is vision. And no matter what you read, and I've read a lot of books, and I've gone through a lot of classes and listened to a lot of YouTube videos and people who talk about, all right, I want to go to a higher level. I want to progress my life. I want to be better. I want to reach these things. How do you create a vision? You have acceptance, you have faith, and that drives your vision. And without a vision, if acceptance is a starting point, then where are you going? You got to know where you're going to go. If you don't know where you're going to go and don't know what you want to do, then you can't create a path. And without a path, you don't have a target to where you're going. And if you don't know where you're going, you'll never get there. I don't know how more basic and plain I can make it. But what's paramount about vision is that vision should invoke and should inspire emotion. You should feel like, oh, when I think of me in this way, oh, like that is it. That is it. That is what I want. That is how I want it. And being this version makes me feel good. The thought of this vision of me makes me feel good. And this is why, acceptance and faith and thinking about a vision should be bigger than material. Because ultimately, I said it in the video, you can want a mansion, you can want a Bugatti, you can want all the finer things, but why? Because it makes you feel good. Why? Maybe I'm flamboyant. Maybe I want to wear the nicest and finest clothes. Maybe I want to have the nicest and finest material things. I'm not saying you can't. I'm not saying that I object to that. What I'm saying, though, is your vision can't be predicated on, I want a 60,000 square foot mansion. It should be predicated on, I want to feel so good about myself that I believe that I am a good communicator, a good business person, a good salesman or saleswoman, or I have this power to leverage to contribute back to the world that makes me feel good. And I should, as far as the reciprocity, because the universe will return to you what you put into it. Then because of this, I deserve all these things in return. Because of my commitment to excellence in these areas, I deserve that the 60,000 foot mansion or whatever it is, that's utopia. But when you define yourself as material, I like this bag, I like these shoes, I like this car, I like this house, you're losing sight of what the vision is or the potential of the vision, which needs to align with the feeling and emotion, whether it's the law of attraction or the law of duality, the backwards law, whether it's faith in God and universe or whatever it is. Nothing about what can be given to you is attained without a feeling of what drives you, because your emotions provoke actions. And I say this regularly. As you are emoting, you're like, oh, this life I see feels so great. Your brain, your conscious, that's just not your brain, but your consciousness, your subconscious, which is 95% of what drives your life, which is where your identity rests of who you think you are. It'll start to give you or align you with, what do I have to do to fulfill this vision for you? What do I have to do to make the universe align with what it is you're asking for? Because I feel how things. So now you're sitting and you have this vision and you're feeling it. And when you feel it again, thoughts lead to feelings, feelings lead to actions, actions lead to outcomes. That's the biggest thing. If you take a passionate, desired action towards a vision, then the likelihood of you attaining what it is you're looking for starts to increase. So when you hear all these buzzwords about you got to be obsessed, you got to create discipline, you got to do it even when you don't want to do it, all this shit that people tell you, I'm not saying it's not true. What I'm saying is your ability to invoke all of those standard lines for today that is required, the discipline, the focus, the attention to detail, everything that comes with it, is predicated off of your ability to feel how you want to feel. So that's what I got for you today. The video, I posted it up if you care to take a look and take a watch. It is 3 quick steps to unlock, or I should say 3 quick steps to start your growth immediately and now. And I do think they're foundational. I do think it'll scale for you. I do think you could take them wherever it is you want to go. And that's acceptance, faith, and vision. As always, thank you for your time and energy. Do you. Stay rich.